Luke G's Field Reviews, hands down the best Detroit Lions podcast you guys will ever listen to. If you like Detroit Lions, tune in to him. He will definitely get you right. We are talking with him, and we talked a little bit about Brandon Ayuk potentially getting traded. Luke G says, no, I don't want that drama. But some of the drama that you need to have is disruption in the backfield. You need some type of edge guy this season, I think. And last season, the pass/rush production, getting in the backfield, stopping the run, seemed to be kind of maybe the Achilles heels of the Detroit Lions last season. Aiden Hutchinson obviously kind of stepped up and is that man, the myth, the legend on the one side of the ball. But do you see anybody else on the Detroit sideline, the defensive line of the ball that can get pass rush, that can get run stopping production?
It's one of the things that I was definitely concerned about. And one of the things that I've always pointed out, I heard this quote a long time ago from one of the guys that do good work named Miko. He says, Aiden Hutchinson is Greek yogurt. He's plain Greek yogurt. And I was like, what do you mean? And he says, plain Greek yogurt by itself isn't all that tasty. But if you add some fruit or some honey or some granola to it, it changes it and it tastes so much better. And so essentially that stuck with me, and it reminded me of, okay, who was the fruit that we added to the Greek yogurt opposite of him? And their answer was Betts, a CFL sack leader who had 18 sacks, is giving more playing time to James Houston, a guy that they didn't think was going to be as good as he was, but he showed that he can, produce. And then they're hitching their bets on Marcus Davenport. And so when I look at that group and that rotation, do I feel like that's enough? No. Do I feel comfortable with that? No. Would I rather there be a more perennial guy opposite of Aiden Hutchinson that really draws attention? Yes. Am I praying that guy is the CFL defensive end Betts? I sure am. Because that's the area of the ball that I'm a little concerned with. And I know that we added DJ Reader, but, what about the other guys? What about the guy that's going to be a huge threat? And so whenever I hear people talk about the no-fly zone for the Denver Broncos, I often remind them that we're not even nowhere near the no-fly zone. And, yeah, we do. We got the cornerbacks. And I go, but they have DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller. Like their backups were good.
Right.
We don't have that. So, yeah, I'm with you on that concern as it pertains to the guy opposite of Aiden Hudson and wondering where we're going to get that production from.
So that's a great question that I'm going to ask you now. Now, obviously, there are going to be camp cuts, come week 2, week 3 of the NFL preseason, potentially pick up some depth from team sloppy seconds per se. But as currently constructed, can you guys be a top 10 defense?
Ooh, you know what? I don't think we need to be. To get where we're going and how we're going to get there, I don't think we need to be. I think being a top 10 is great, but if you're in that top 15 to 20 area, I think it's more than enough for you to get where you need to be. It really does boil down to timing and momentum. And when you look at the Lions right now, they are having great timing with great momentum. And it's been happening since the end of the end of the second year, where they went on like a 7 or 8 game win streak, and then it carry over to the next season with us coming out beating those Kansas City Chiefs. It's just been carrying it. Yeah, I had to throw that in there too, Buck. Sorry. It's just the truth. But it's one of the things that I look at and I say, the momentum is there. It's just a matter of doing it. So they just need to be around like 15. We still got a lot of young guys out there. We got some veterans on the secondary with Amik Robertson, with people like Carlton Davis. Those are veteran guys. One of the biggest silent acquisitions or things that's happening that nobody's really paying attention to, but they will pay attention to soon, is moving Brian Branch from that slot corner to full-time safety. Yeah. That's going to cause a huge problem for people, because now you give him more room to do his thing and work his magic, and I think he will show up in a big way. So, but to say, are we going to be top 10? I don't get the feel for top 10, but I also don't think we need to be top 10 to get where we want to go.
Yeah, and also to add to the Brian Branch aspect there, last season he played about 30% of the snaps, maybe 40%. Seemed to make a lot of impact when he was in there. When a player like that gets his feet under him and starts the momentum, it's just up and up and up. So my man John Peoples is in the chat here, Luke, and he wants to put out this statement. He says, Lions versus Raiders in Super Bowl 59, Raiders win 31-28. So I know you do not like that outcome by any stretch of the imagination, and the Raiders even in the playoffs is just blasphemy. But you, as a longtime Detroit Lions fan, as long as you've been alive, the Detroit Lions have never made it to the Super Bowl. If the Detroit Lions this season were to make it to the Super Bowl but lose, would you still be think it's a satisfactory season?
100%. 100%, because you have to understand, we have been progressively getting better, and each inch that we take to getting better is met with, happiness and joy. We went from winning 3 games to winning 7 games, right? We went from winning 7 games to winning the NFC North. We went from winning the NFC North to getting to the NFC Championship game. Now, to go from the NFC Championship game, which we lost and we should have won, which I believe had we won that, we would have won that Super Bowl, because I believe even with all
you rolled, jabroni.
Hey, just telling the truth, just facts. Because you got to think, we play with a different style. You guys, wasn't used to people going for it on 4th down religiously. We going for it. So, but the thing is you have people who don't see it. So to go from an NFC Championship game to a Super Bowl, that's progression, and it's progression worth noting, and it just increases the need for me to say, you know what, now I want more. Now I want to have a Super Bowl win the next year. But anything that leads to us to a Super Bowl is 100% success. Okay, like that's the absolute ceiling for us. The floor for us is NFC Championship game. You have to get back there. You cannot not get back to the NFC Championship game, and I think we will do just that.
Yeah.